Hello everybody and welcome to i-nastava. This is an English lesson for the second grade of high school. Today we will talk about time travel and Stephen Hawking. My name is Livija Pribanić and I will be your teacher today. There is only one learning outcome for our lesson today, and it is to describe the concept of time travel. However, we will do various activities. And now it's time to get ready. Before we start with our activities, please prepare your notebook and writing utensils. Don't forget, you can pause the video lesson at any point. You will see the pause button several times during the lesson. Pause the video, do the activities, and then come back. Are you ready? Let's get started. We've been discussing the concept of time travel for some time now, and we will continue doing so today. But today, we will focus more on physics. Before we start with the first task, let's discuss VT graph first. You can see an example of a VT graph here. V stands for velocity or speed. T stands for time, so this is velocity time graph. This type of graph is used in physics to describe motion of objects. In our first task, the object of our interest is a fly. And here is the first task. This graph here shows movement of a fly. Study the graph and answer the first question. In which second is the fly's movement the slowest? Study the graph and choose A, B, C, or D. Take your time. Are you ready? The answer is C, in the 7th second. So the velocity is smallest somewhere between the 6th and the 7th second. We cannot be more precise than this based on this graph. Yet, we can claim that the velocity is the smallest in the 7th second. And the 7th second is the period starting from the 6th second and moving on until the 7th second. Well done! Here is another question. The graph is the same, and the question is, how long was the fly moving? Are you ready? Looking at the graph, we can say that the fly was moving for 9 seconds. What is unknown is, what was the fly doing before and after the movement in this graph? The graph cannot describe negative time because there is no such thing as negative time. The moment t equals 0 is our agreement. We have decided and agreed to start measuring the movement from that point in time. But that does not mean that the fly stood still before the agreed movement. And that does not mean that the fly stopped moving after the 9th second. This is a simple proof that it is not easy to show movement in time. For what is really time? Now that we are all well warmed up and completely focused on physics, it's time to move on. You're about to see 3 quotes. These are the words of one famous person. Who do you think said these words? Take your time and read through the quotes. Any guesses? All three quotes are by Stephen Hawking. Have you ever heard of Stephen Hawking? Who was he? If you have, then the next task will be easy for you. If you haven't, the next task will be an opportunity to learn something new. It's time to open your notebooks now and copy this table into your notebook. We will use a KWL chart throughout today's lesson. Once you have the table in your notebooks, please fill in the first column. What do you know about Stephen Hawking and time travel? Pause the lesson now, copy the table and fill in the first column. Take a look at the sentences written here. Are they true or false? If you know a lot about Stephen Hawking, you will guess right. If not, you will learn something new. Stephen Hawking was an American physicist. His parents both graduated from Oxford University. He was an excellent student throughout his education. He was studying astrology at the University of Cambridge. His books made science accessible to everyone. Decide which sentence is true and which is false. Then we will watch a short video to check. Before we watch the video, it's time to fill in the second column. What do you want to know about Stephen Hawking and time travel? Please pause the lesson now and fill in the second column. I hope you have liked the video and I hope you have learned something new. Let's check the statements now. Stephen Hawking was an American physicist is a false one. He was a British physicist. His parents both graduated from Oxford University. That is true. He was an excellent student throughout his education. No, that is a false one. He really didn't like studying. He was studying astrology at the University of Cambridge. That is false as well. He was studying cosmology. And finally, his books made science accessible to everyone is a true statement. Well done. If you are not sure about any of these answers, you can go back and watch the video again. Now, when we talk about past actions, things that we would like to change or things that we would have made differently in the past, we use third conditional. Do you remember the structure? We have mentioned that before in our video lessons. So in this case, we're talking about the third conditional. The construction is if plus past perfect in the first part of the sentence, and then would plus have plus past participle in the second part of the sentence. For example, if we had taken the taxi, we would have arrived on time. We use the third conditional to talk about the past, to describe a situation that did not happen and to imagine the result of this situation. Now we need a third conditional for our next activity. In the next activity, you will take a break from the video lesson. You will do a quick research and write. Please browse the web, find 10 facts about Stephen Hawking and his life, and write sentences using third conditional. For example, if Stephen had studied medicine, he wouldn't have discovered so much about black holes. Pause the lesson now, search the web, and write your 10 sentences. Don't forget to send your sentences to your teacher. Okay, dear researchers, now it's time to travel through time with Stephen Hawking. Watch the video 1. Here is a bit.ly link that will take you to the video. You can find it in the list underneath the lesson. While watching, answer the 2 questions. What did Stephen give to the volunteers? And how many numbers do we need to describe an event? Have fun! Was the video fun? Let's check the answers. So the volunteers were given 3 numbers. According to the video and the experts, we need 4 numbers to describe an event. Well done, you are ready for the next video. Copy the bit.ly link, click on the bit.ly link from the list beneath the lesson, and watch the video 2. While watching, find the answers to these 3 questions. Where will the volunteers travel to? What makes time travel possible? And where does time pass faster? Have fun! Are you back from your time travel? Let's check the answers. The volunteers will travel to the future. A black hole and gravity make time travel possible. Time passes faster high on a mountain. Well done. It's time now for your next task. Did you know that Stephen was born on the 30th death anniversary of Galileo Galilei? No? Well, that's an interesting fact. Now imagine that these 2 great men met. Write a conversation between the 2. Include a bit of physics and a bit of cosmology. Let your imagination go wild. This is an opportunity to be very creative. If you prefer, you can also make it a bit funny. Once you have written your conversation down, send it to your teacher. Enjoy this activity. We've done so much in our lesson today, and you've been so diligent. But before we come to the end of the lesson, it's time to fill in the third column. What have you learned about Stephen Hawking and time travel? Please pause the lesson now and fill in the third column. You will need this KWL chart for your final task. And finally, the last task. It's time for you to do a bit of speaking. Use the KWL chart from this lesson and the notes you have in your notebooks from the lessons before to prepare a report on time travel. That's the topic of your report. Your target audience are your classmates, so you need to be precise and concrete. Also, don't get too complicated. The format of your report is introduction, where you will state what your report is about, the main part in which you will state facts that you have learned about Stephen Hawking and everything you know about time travel, and finally you will have a conclusion in which you will give your own opinion and offer suggestions for further research. You can use any recording tool to record your report. A useful tip is try not to read. Practice and send the best version to your teacher. By now, you are all experts in the topic, so you can do it. Go ahead, be brave. And here is a simple checklist, just to check that your report has all the parts that are important. Introduction, facts and not opinions, conclusion, suggestions for further research. Make sure your report is clear and precise, and don't avoid technical terms, just don't overdo it. This is all for today. Thank you for being with us. Till the next time, bye!